Alright everybody, welcome back. So I was playing around with some Texas Old School and I wanted to create a whole nother deck. So I didn't want to create a control deck, I wanted to create an aggro type deck. And in Texas Old School, one of the great things about it, which I'll have the list here right now, is City in a Bottle is gone. So how much fun is it going to be to play like Arabian Aggro and all those Arabian cards without City in a Bottle? You still got to fear like Spirit Links and Control Magic, stuff like that, but how much more fun is it going to be to slam down Arabian Aggro or things like that? So I wanted to take a deck that I always found close to my heart, which was Counter Burn. And I wanted to make this thing as nasty as I can possibly make it. So here's a tech. Please put in the comments if you guys have any thoughts or ideas, or if you want to play test or something like that, let me know. I'll have a playtest video up here. We were trying to build a different deck for someone else, so we went through a lot of testing and changes, and I'll put that up, and if you guys have any questions on that, please put the comments in too. But I'm trying to come up with some different stuff that I know people would enjoy, and Arabian Nights cards are awesome. They're powerful and fun. So why not introduce a couple of them that you normally don't see, but now in this format you can. So there's a Texas Old School current banned and restricted list, and you can see it's from Alpha all the way to Fallen Empires. It is Mana Burn, so don't forget that it has Mana Burn, but that'll give you a great idea. But first we're going to check out, because Texas Old School is 4 Horsemen linked, so we're going to watch the 4 Horsemen video here shortly.
Greetings, old school magic players, and welcome to the 4 Horsemen.
Alright, so here's a deck picture of what I'm going to go over and talk about here in a minute, so you guys can take a look at what my thought process was. But I'll kind of walk through a few different things right now for you, and one of them is Serendib Djinn. So a lot of people are like, oh my god, you need a lot of things for it. Well, if you notice, I'm main decking 3 Blood Moons. What happens with Blood Moon? Your volcanic islands, your underground seas, those are no longer considered islands. So even if Blood Moon isn't in play, I still have 7 lands that I can afford to sack and get rid of, if I want to. Heck, even if I sacrifice an island, it's only 3 damage to me, 5 to someone else. I'm playing a very fast aggro burn hit strategy. So my objective with this is to slow you down. I can't say the full name because I'm afraid I'm going to get in trouble. But we're just going to call it Bloody Bum for the moment. Instead of the word I probably can't use because I don't want to get in trouble. But the reason I did that is this used to be called Bloody Flux, and it's because of Blood Moons and Energy Fluxes. That was this version that I was creating and messing around with, and I did pretty well with it. I won a bunch of tournaments with it, but it does have a weakness against white. Well, without the factories and cities and stuff like that in there, I'm actually able to play more black. And the idea behind this is, again, I wanted to make Counter Burn, and I wanted to make it feared. So this is my way of trying to do so, and I got to go through more testing and stuff with it. But like I said, let me know what you guys think. So in this sense, I can take out, if I see the draw 7s, they're not going to really do me any good. If the Djinn is going to come out, say we don't need Blood Moons come out, Djinn comes out, right? Well, that's 4 cards right there. So let's just say I'm playing a white deck. Well, what do you think is going to go in for white? If it's mono white with no artifacts, I'm putting 3 Glooms in. And I can also put, a Terror in place. So now I have a way of destroying that. If I need some Shatters, I can remove my 2 Chain Lightnings or something like that if I need to. There's a lot of different options. I can take out cards that may not be as powerful, because if I am running the Blood Moons and the Blood Moons are affecting somebody, I'm probably going to take my Chain Lightnings out. So if I can put in a Terror, that's huge. So I'll take a chain and put a terror in. Maybe I'll put a disintegrate in there also. Or maybe I'll run some shatters if there's some basic artifacts I need to remove. But this is my mindset. But I wanted to toggle, and I can run 6 of these at a time. So let's just say 3 Blood Moons and 3 Energy Fluxes, if that's a deck that gets affected bad by that. I could also say forget the Blood Moons and run 3 Energy Fluxes and 3 Glooms. Or I could even run 3 Glooms and 3 Blood Moons. And you might think, oh my gosh, that's going to shut my black off. Well, technically it does cut a lot of my black off, but I'm going to end up playing that Gloom first before I play the Blood Moon, unless I feel I can get a definite lockdown. I'm going to play the Blood Moon, lock them down. That gives me enough turns, usually, to get a Gloom out before they can get a Plains or a Pearl and try and get a Disenchant. I'm going to end up getting something. I'll Demonic Tutor. I can do different options. But I'm going to set myself up. This is a chess game. It's not just, oh, I'm going to play the best card in my hand. Magic is chess. So if I have a Blood Moon out and it's not going to win me the game, I may Demonic Tutor for a Gloom and play the Gloom first. Or if I know they're holding a Disenchant, I might purposely put that Blood Moon out first so they instantly disenchant that Blood Moon. And then the very next turn I play a Gloom, and then I'm going to have another Blood Moon in my hand, or I tutor for it or draw for it. Either way, you're going to get another Blood Moon. You play another Blood Moon. Now they have a Blood Moon on them and a Gloom on them. And if they're playing Control, well, that is going to cost them a whole lot of mana, and by then they're probably going to end up getting burnt out and killed out by creatures. So the idea is to switch between Energy Flux, Gloom, and Blood Moon, and whatever combination hurts the player the most, or whatever single hurts the player the most. But my starting one was Blood Moon and Djinn, because even if Blood Moon does not really affect my opponent that much, it's going to stop certain cards that I care about and slow them down slightly, but it's also going to give me a benefit because now I don't have 7 cards. I have 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 lands to sacrifice to my Djinn that are not considered islands anymore because of Blood Moon. And all those islands I run, if you look at them, there's a lot of islands in there. That's because I want double blue, and I want to make sure I have single blue so I can cast my counter spells and my Djinn. My counter spells and my mana drain, they're only for game-changing cards. They are not for anything other than something that's going to change the game to my opponent's favor. I'm not going to counter a Serendib with it. I will take the 3 damage before I counter a Serendib because I want to keep that counter spell for a lock or for a game-changing card like a 10-point fireball or something crazy. But that's my thought process. So this gives you kind of what I'm looking at in a deck. And now we're going to jump down to me kind of breaking it down a little bit for you in person. I actually like this a lot better. So for burn, you're going to have your 4 bolts. And yeah, I only play 2 chains. If you ever play counter burn, you're going to realize very quickly that chain lightnings end up being very difficult to get off. But what other people typically do is they run 3 chains and 3 blasts or combinations. So I'm going to run 4 blasts, 4 bolts, and 2 chains. Why am I running 4 blasts? Well, that's basically for end turn shots. I want to hit my opponent on the end turn, on their end step. Sorry. But if I play my 4 flying men, my 4 orcs, and my 4 dibs, that's a lot of very fast damage. And I will happily swap out my flying man for one of your lions. If you're playing lion dib bolt, you have 8 creatures. I'm more than happy to trade out a flying man, or I'll still attack with an orc. Go ahead and block with your lion. I have 8 to your 4. So I can afford to lose 4 of my little creatures to take your lions out and still get through anyway. So you're going to have to waste your burn if you're playing lion dib to get rid of these. And it allows me to keep plenty of burn for myself. I don't just sit down and start nuking a creature. If I have a lightning bolt in hand, I will purposely let you kill my orc with your lion, and I'll trade, because I will have a bolt. So when I play my dib, I have extra damage. So I can hit you for 6, or Sonic Blast you on your end step. Well, all of a sudden, you're looking at a flying man. Alright? If I have a flying man and an orc, which is going to happen almost every single time on turn 3, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to attack for 3. Well, what happens? I might chain you at 6 damage. Or maybe I'll wait and I have a Sonic Blast. Well, that's 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 damage. This goes off on your end step. After you're already done with your entire turn, I will blast you. So it's a way of me keeping control. I will waste my burn spells on your dibs, but I'm not going to waste my burn on your little guys, because I'm probably going to have more little guys than you. I have 8. So chances are I'm going to get through all your little guys just with these, because that's what the chains are for, typically for creatures. Sorry about the little glare in the chain. But that's typically my thought process for that end of the world, and that's my quick, I'm going to do some serious damage to you. I do have a Djinn. If I see things floating my way a little bit, I may slap one of him down real quick. Well, if I'm slapping him down real fast, that is a lot of ouch. If I notice I have a flying man and an orc down, and maybe I don't have a Serendib, a free, I might be throwing these 2 down, hitting you, realizing you're taking this and you're taking a blast at your end step, which tells me you probably don't have a counterspell because you just took 7. I'll play a Djinn and finish the game. So it could go very quickly. Or I know you're going to waste your counterspell on the Djinn, or you're going to waste your plow on the Djinn, and then I'll put a dib down, and then you're really screwed. So it just depends on how it rolls, but that's kind of my thought process with it and how I've been playing it. I have played a bunch of test games. I was against versions of the deck and different versions of Stasis and stuff like that. So I don't think I lost any games. I think 14 life was the lowest I got against one of the Stasis locks or something. But that was a different kind of deck. But that's most of the time I was at full life, or maybe 1 or 2 less. I run 3 Blood Moons main. So my idea with 3 enchantments is technically I have 4. Demonic Tutor is any card I need. So if I have a Blood Moon and say I sided in a Gloom, I could Demonic Tutor from my Gloom, play my Gloom first, play Blood Moon second, or I can play a Blood Moon. If there's no responses, I'll float a black and then put a Gloom out. So it just depends on what's going on and what's happening. Because if I mana drain something for 3, that's basically a 1-point Blood Moon. So if I drained you, let's just say you played a Serendib Djinn and I drained it for 4 mana. And I have 4 colorless. Well, that's 1, 2, and Gloom is 2, right? Well, there's 4. So basically for 1, 2, 3, 4 mana, I could play a Demonic Tutor for a Gloom. So I can play my Blood Moon, float my black, play a Gloom after, and now I have a Blood Moon and Gloom out. And now in order to get rid of the Blood Moon, you have to pay all the extra mana. So basically you're tapping yourself out of your turn to kill the Blood Moon. So those are some of the thought process. But basically if I run 3, I'm running 4 as long as I have a Demonic Tutor. Alright? So that's why I run 3s, because I'm always going to have the Demonic Tutor in there. So that being said on how I play those, obviously we have your Chaos Orb, your Time Twisters, and then we're getting into your draw side here, but Time Twister, Wheel of Fortune, Time Walk I consider a draw engine, Brain Geyser, Ancestral Recall, and then we have the 3 cards here again, 3, 4 if I need to, but basically I can get a counter spell in my hand and keep it for something to protect. So if you end up tapping 5 mana for that disenchant, You probably don't have extra mana for a counterspell. So I'm going to keep one of these in hand. So you spent all 5 of your mana, and I just mana drained it, or counterspelled it, and now I can play more stuff out. So that's the way that this is meant to function. It's meant to function very, very fast. The drawback with some of these decks and original Bloody Flux and Counterburn type formats is when you run into long type controls like a Swedish the deck or something like that, where it's going to take a long time. I do have 3 main ways to get regeneration creatures. So if I'm playing like Troll Disco or something, I may end up putting my other 2 counter spells in, so I have a total of 5 counters and 3 ways to destroy. And that's a way for me to try and get rid of those or get around them. I've been known to bolt, and then a bolt, so you have to regenerate before combat. And what happens when you regenerate is you tap. So I can bolt, you tap your troll to regenerate, now I can attack through. So even if I can't get rid of it, I might bolt it, attack through, and then hit you for more damage on top of it and kill you. So I've done that a lot of times too. Like I said, it's like a chess game. But these are my ways basically around that. I'm not going to out-control a control deck. But what can happen is control decks run white. Some control decks are heavy artifacts. So that's where Energy Flux and Gloom will go in instead of Blood Moon. Blood Moon's not going to affect you. I may run Energy Fluxes and Gloom. Make all your artifacts cost a lot more upkeep-wise. So now you have to pay for your Mox to keep it. And now you have to spend 5 for a disenchant. So not only are you paying 5, but now you have to pay 2 just to keep the Mox and that chance that you have a disenchant. That's the process. I'm not looking for this to end the game. I'm looking for Blood Moon, Gloom, and Energy Flux to just cause enough of a delay that I have a few turns that I can run free with a deck with that much power and speed to it. There's always shatters in case there's something crazy I run into. I have 3 shatters. There's not 4 factories in a deck anymore, so I don't think shatters are really as necessary. But if I run into something crazy, like a deck full of icy manipulators or some crazy things, I might throw some of these in to take it out. And there is no Mind Twist. So here's a card that I can swap in very easily for Djinn. So say I'm not running my Blood Moons anymore, and you're running more of a slower control type deck where you need your hand. I may put my counter spells in and play an Amnesia, and I will set up an Amnesia and wipe your hand out. And you might think, wow, 6 mana is a lot. Well, if I have 5 cards in my opponent's hand and I'm mind twisting 5 cards out of them, how much mana am I paying? 6. But I've already wiped out 7 cards out of somebody's hand, sometimes even more than 7 cards out of their hand with a single Amnesia. So when you're playing a deck that likes to keep cards in hand, and say they're having a turn or 2 difficulty with Blood Moon, I can tap myself out for an Amnesia. Now I also will keep an Amnesia in hand, or vice versa. I'll Demonic Tutor for basically a Mana Drain. And if I have Amnesia in my hand, I'm missing my Mana Drain. I will Demonic Tutor for a Mana Drain. And I will sit here, and if you play a Soul Ring, or something that gives me enough mana that I'm going to get my Amnesia off and have enough mana for a counterspell, I will Mana Drain the stupidest thing on your side of the board, and you're going to be like, why is he doing that? And the next turn, I throw an Amnesia out with a counterspell to protect it, and the game is over. You have no cards left. I'm going to be smashing orcs and stuff all over the place, and you're not going to be able to stop them because you don't have a single hand. So that's how that kind of plays out. And that's my sideboard to it. I hope you guys kind of enjoyed that. In a few seconds here, I'm going to work on some videos and post some other videos. but I do want to go over some of the mana base here so you can understand. So when I say mana, it's mana producers. So Buddy Brian taught me a lot of how to look at things a little different. I've always looked at things a little different, but he taught me a lot of things that a little bit different. So here's your basic Singleton Factory, Strip Mine, and Single City of Brass. Because City of Brass is a non-basic land, it is restricted. All non-basics are restricted to one copy. Some of them are completely removed. I run 2 Underground Seas, 4 Badlands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 islands. That's just a fun Arabian Nights proxy. I absolutely love this guy. I'm sure you showed that a couple times, but it's a nice Arabian Nights proxy of an island. I just love it, so it goes in there with my other pretty islands. And then I run 4 volcanic islands. That's my mana base. Now remember, if I'm running Blood Moon main with my normal start, and I have my Dijin out, this entire lot with a Blood Moon out is considered non-islands. They are considered mountains. They lose the island ability. So this is no longer an island if I have a Blood Moon out. It is a mountain. So I can sack my volcanic island to my Dijin and not take any damage because it's not an island. It is a mountain at the time it was sacrificed and targeted. So that's how Dijin plays out. That's my little loophole. So I hope you enjoyed this deck. Like I said, I'll have a couple games here shortly for you and hopefully some more. But yes, there's a couple proxies in here because I have a whole lot of decks right now. But Texas Old School is like Four Horsemen. We want you to play and have fun. I don't care if they're literally islands that you have Sharpie on. As long as people can read what they are, guess what? You can play. So if you're not an old school player and you love looking into this because of how much sets are in it, and you don't have to worry about a deck that's going to play 4 Hymn to Torox and all kinds of land destruction, then this is the format for you. It's not Mind Twist. There's no Hymn to Torox. There is first turn Mind Twists. You know how rare it is to get a first turn Amnesia? It's near impossible. So I first turn Mind Twisted people all the time. First turn Hymn to Torox and the game's over because they discarded their lands. Those game-changing cards are what's out. It's not supposed to be cards that are not game changers. Moat is restricted because it's not a game-changing card. If it's a single copy, there's plenty of ways to disenchant a Moat. But before I even take a turn, you can wipe my hands out of my hand, or my lands out of my hand, and I lose a game because of a Mind Twist or a Hymn. You don't want that out there. It's no fun. So that's the reason that Brian Wiseman and these guys came up with this format, and this is absolutely by far my favorite format. There's Enchantress decks I'm messing around with that are pretty nasty. Chains, you want to talk about wanting people to love to play Chains? This is your format to play Chains in. It is nasty. It is absolutely brutal. It lets you have more fun with it. You get more, there's a lot of fun decks you can play in here. Your goblins are absolutely terrifying. You're not going to have Maze of Ith, so it's not like somebody's playing Maze of Ith, and if they're playing Desert, it's only a single copy. So are they going to play 1 factory and 1 desert? So to bring it back up what I'm talking about here, it's right here. You'll see. Gem de Tome. That's restricted to 1. Obviously, you got your normal ones, but there's Moat. There's Abyss. Time Vault's restricted to 1. We don't want people doing crazy shenanigans. Channel is allowed, but it is restricted to 1. So yes, channel Fireball, people. Or channel crazy turns, whatever you want to end up doing. I've already channeled and threw 2 Urnums down on a table. Back in the day, it was fun. But you'll notice under the band, you'll see there, other than the normal stuff, Maze of Ith, Library of Alexandria, Hymn. Those are some of the big ones. City in a Bottle, Bronze Tablet. So you're going to have the normal guys, but you're going to have those in addition. So if I'm not running, 4 mazes and 4 deserts, because, mind you, desert is a non-basic, so all non-basics are restricted. How good are your Pump Knights now? How good are your Abyss Knight decks? They just got a little bit better now, didn't they? So all these other decks that you guys are used to playing for X points and all this other stuff, you may want to get and try this one out, because it's going to give you a little bit of a fun boost. So again, thanks guys. I hope you enjoy this and have a magnificent day.